Hi Year 4, right, so this is your Wednesday English lesson. Your TLP is Can I Infer and Deduce from a Text? So if you're not quite sure about those two words which are highlighted in yellow, I'm just going to talk you through them and you can read the little definition. So to infer or to make an inference is when you read between the lines and you look for clues in a story. So that's what you're going to be doing with the story of The Lost Thing. And to deduce is when you draw conclusions from the information given in the text or in a story. So I'm going to read the story for you, but I want you to think about these questions, and all you're going to do is you're just going to enjoy the story. These are the questions. So who is telling the story? Why didn't anybody want to help the lost thing? How does the writer tell us how the thing, the lost thing, is feeling? Why weren't Sean, the boy's parents, interested, do you think? Why do you think his parents disapprove and want the lost thing gone? And why do you think Sean, the boy, was intrigued by the lost thing? So I just want you to think about those questions as I read the story. And then you will find underneath this YouTube video, you will see a link where there is a video. That is going to be your task, just to watch the video of The Lost Thing. So enjoy, and I will look forward to talking to you about whether you like the story and what you thought this afternoon. Right, this is The Lost Thing. This is written by Sean Tan. Just before we start, I just want to show you this bottle top collection because I love it. I think it's really worth just taking a few minutes to have a look at. See if you can spot your favourite one. This is my favourite one. Also really like this one. Right, okay. So, you want to hear a story? Well, I used to know a whole lot of pretty interesting ones. Some of them so funny you'd laugh yourself unconscious. Others so terrible you'd never want to repeat them. But I can't remember any of those, so I'll just tell you about the time that I found a lost thing. I really like these pictures. You can see all the cloud formations and the houses. This all happened a few summers ago, one rather ordinary day by the beach. Not much was going on. I was, as usual, working tirelessly on my bottle top collection, and I stopped to look up for no particular reason. That's when I first saw the thing. Here we go, this is the character speaking. I must have stared at it for a while. I mean, it had a really weird sort of look about it. A sad, lost sort of look. Nobody else seemed to notice it was there. Too busy doing beach stuff, I guess. There we are. Just see the lost thing there. Not a usual sort of looking beach. It looks very sort of industrial, doesn't it? Naturally, I was intrigued, so really curious. I decided to investigate. Sure didn't do much. It just sat there, looking out of place. I was baffled. It was quite friendly though, once I started talking to it. It does look like its posture has changed. It does look more friendly. I played with it for most of the afternoon. It was great fun, yet I couldn't help feeling that something wasn't quite right. If you look at the pictures here, you can see they're playing ball. And what do you think they're doing in this picture and in this picture. As the hours slouched by, it seemed less and less likely that anybody was coming to take the thing home. There was no denying the unhappy truth of the situation. It was lost. I asked a few people if they knew anything about it, but nobody was very helpful. You can see here, at the top of this very, very, very long ladder, we've got the lifeguard wearing these binoculars, looking out to sea. You can see that he goes and asks this lady in this kiosk, I wonder what they're selling, I wonder what sort of is it a shop? We don't know. Not quite sure. Goes and asks this gentleman. He's definitely doing a kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure. And these people not being very helpful at all. Definitely doing their own thing. I took the lost thing over to Pete's place. Pete has an opinion on just about everything. And if you remember, it was Pete that he was writing the postcard to on the blurb. So this is his friend Pete. Cool, he said. I'm trying to find out who owns it, I told him. I don't know, man, said Pete. It's pretty weird. Maybe it doesn't belong to anyone. Maybe it doesn't come from anywhere. Some things are like that. He paused for dramatic effect. Just plain lost. You can see Pete and Sean sitting on top of what we think is Pete's roof. And you've got all of these houses and they all look exactly the same. You've got the lost thing up there as well. There was nothing left to do but take the thing home with me. I mean, I couldn't just leave it wandering the streets. Plus, I felt kind of sorry for it. There he is. So look, he's got hold of one of the thing's bells and he's walking back home with it. My parents didn't really notice at first. Too busy discussing current events, I guess. You can see this is where Sean lives. He's eating something called wingdings, obviously a snack. He's got the cat here. He's got his dad, his mum. What do you think this might be? And got the lost thing. Eventually, I had to point it out to them. Its feet are filthy, shrieked Mum. It could have all kinds of strange diseases, warned Dad. Take it back to where you found it, they demanded, both at the same time. It's lost, I said, but they had already started talking about something else. I hid the thing in our back shed, and I gave it something to eat. Once I'd found out what it liked, it seemed a bit happier then, even though it was still lost. And can you spot what the lost thing does like to eat? What has Sean found to feed it on? I checked the local paper for any lost pet notices, but only found a lot of good deals on refrigerator repairs. I remember thinking then that Pete was probably right, that some things were just plain lost. In any case, I sure couldn't keep the thing in the shed forever. Mum or Dad would eventually notice it when they came out looking for a hammer or something. It was a real dilemma. I was wondering what to do when a small advertisement on the last page of the paper happened to catch my eye. Are you finding that the order of day-to-day life is unexpectedly disrupted by unclaimed property, objects without names, troublesome artifacts of unknown origin, Things that just don't belong. Filing cabinets, leftovers. Got another thing here. Don't panic. We've got a pigeonhole to stick it in. And this is an advert from the Federal Department of Odds and Ends. Sweepus Underum Carpete. And it's got an address on it, downtown, 6328th Street, tall grey building. The next morning we caught a tram into the city. See all these people waiting. Nobody seems surprised to see the lost thing. Wow, look. We arrived at a tall grey building with no windows. It was pretty dark in there, and it smelt like disinfectant. I have a lost thing, I called to the receptionist at the front desk. Fill in these forms, she said. You can see the desk is very tall and she's right at the top. And look at the pile of forms. Oh my goodness. The lost thing made a small, sad noise. I like the way the smoke is disappearing straight up here. There he is, carrying the pile of papers away. But then I was looking around for a pen when I felt something tug the back of my shirt. If you really care about this thing, you shouldn't leave it here, said a tiny voice. This is a place for forgetting, leaving behind, smoothing over. Here, take this. It was a business card with a kind of sign on it. It wasn't very important looking, but it did seem to point somewhere. Cheers, I said. At this point, we left the tall grey building and hunted all over the place for this sign. There he is, he's got the card. The lost thing is playing with the birds there. You can see a sign a bit like it there. Can you spot any others? It wasn't an easy job. Who can spot arrows that look like the one on the card? There we go, well done, well done. And I can't say I knew what it all meant. In very small writing here, there's a sign that says, today is the tomorrow you were promised yesterday. We'll think about what that means. There's Sean and the lost thing. Eventually, we found what seemed to be the right place, in a dark little gap off some anonymous little street, the sort of place you'd never know existed unless you were actually looking for it. I pressed a buzzer on the wall and this big door opened up. Oh, I can just imagine the noise it made. Right, don't know how much of that you'll be able to see. So look. Wow. Amazing. I didn't know what to think, but the lost thing made an approving sort of a noise. It seemed as good a time as any to say goodbye to each other. So we did. I like it again, giving a sort of high five there. Double high five. Then I went home to classify my bottle top collection. Well, that's it. That's the story. Not especially profound, I know, but I never said it was. And don't ask me what the moral is. I mean, I can't say that the thing actually belonged in the place where it ended up. In fact, none of the things there really belonged. They all seemed happy enough, though, so maybe that didn't matter. I don't know. I still think about the lost thing from time to time. especially when I see something out of the corner of my eye that doesn't quite fit. Can you spot anything that doesn't quite fit? Well done. You know, something with a weird, sad sort of a look. I see less and less of that sort of thing these days, though. Maybe there aren't many lost things around anymore, or maybe I've just stopped noticing them. Too busy doing other stuff, I guess. There we go, and it finishes with a picture of the thing that gave Sean the card.